Well, it's been a busy week this week. I got a email notification from Speedway, said my tie rod ends came in. So I'm heading up to the shop now, and I'll show you what else has been going on. I told you last week about the lights. I've been working on that quite a bit. Well, as you can see, I put this down. I've been busy. You remember last week, if you've been following along, I told you these two lights over here went out. So I went and got scaffolding that I had down by the house where we were painting on the carport. Disassembled it, brought it all up here, reassembled it, and started working on the lights. You can see how much brighter well, if I go up to this one here, you can see this one here has got an old bulb and a new bulb fluorescing compared to the LED bulbs. It's made a hell of a difference. So I think while I got the scaffolding up, I'm either gonna try to move it to the back and do those two lights, or move it up here to the front and do these two. Not sure yet which, but either way, I'll have to open the door, get the car pushed out. Well, I got the car pushed back out of the way. I'm waiting on a friend of mine, Mike, to come over here. He's going to bring his floor jack. I only have one. I really need to get another one, but I thought maybe if we put a floor jack under each side, we could pick it up and just slide the whole scaffolding back this way here to here, and then I can get these two lights up here. So, well, let me see. I'm going to open the box with these tie rod ends that came in this morning and see what we got to do to get them on. Well, here's the tie rod ends I ordered. I got a left-hand thread and a right-hand thread. I tried them on there. I took the boot off, you can see right here, just to try this so we can see. When I try it over here on the pitman arm, it's tight. And you got plenty of thread for the nut. It's about right where it's supposed to be. The taper matches the taper here. But when I come over here to the steering arm, it only goes in about maybe 1/4 of an inch. You can see here, it's got to go down another 1/4 down. It's a little loose in the taper. I don't know if somebody tapered that with something or how, but anyway, I got a reamer right here. I had bought this when I did my last T-bucket, and you can see if I put it in here, it's tight. That's where it needs to go, how deep it needs to be. So what I'm gonna have to do is take this reamer and we'll ream this hole out. You can see under here how far it's got to go down, like about another 1/4 of an inch. Ream it, and then this will match the tie rod ends. We'll get it lined up, and I'll make the tubing for the steering. That should be good enough. Well, I got the tie rods on temporarily for now, that one. And we got the one back here. The next thing you got to do is get the steering box centered with the travel. So when the car's going straight down the road, ideally would be to have this straight up and down and the car going straight. So what we'll do to make sure is I'm going to back this all the way up right here till it stops. Which is right there. So it's this set screw pointing straight back. It stops. That's the back travel. So what we're going to do is count how many turns we got from here. So that would be 1 turn. That would be 2. That would be 3. And it's 4. It's 5, and it stops. So we'll call it 5.5 turns. Okay. So 5.5. We need 2 3/4 turns. So let me back this up all the way back. Here. All right, so that's all the way pointing to the back again. I got clearance here, about 1/4 inch, but this is when the tires are fully turned and the steering is locked. So the only time you're going to be in this position maybe is parking or something, and I'm not even sure there's stops that are adjustable on the axle that I can stop it, anywhere we want. So right now, we'll leave it here. The spline's lined up the way it is now. And like I said, we went 5.5, so I got to go 2 3/4 turns. So that's 1. That's 2 3/4 should be pointing over here by me, about like that. Okay, and you see there, that puts the arm in the center. So I got 2 3/4 turns back to here and 2 3/4 turns this way. So that's where we want to measure it right now. So the next thing I did, I went and put a string line back here, tied it onto the rim. And then I pulled the string line from the outside of the back rim to the tire right here to get the tire straight with the back tire. So I got it pointing straight, and now that the tire is straight with the back tire, I can go ahead and measure the shaft, how long I need to cut the piece. Well, I got a drag link. You can see right here. This was out of my T-Bucket originally when it had the small block Chevy motor in it. The steering box was way back, and it had a real long bar on it. So I kept it, and it was... it's threaded left hand 11/16 left hand thread and 11/16 right hand thread on the other end. So what I did was this one here is the left-handed thread one. And what I like to do on these, I could show you right here, is when I'm setting it up, I leave about the thickness of the nut of thread showing. So if I had to, I could loosen this nut up, move it to the end, right? And then tighten this up and give you about 3/8 of an inch here and 3/8 on the other side. So that gives you 3/4 of an inch in one direction. And then if I went out, 3/8, I'd still got plenty of threads in here. And I got travel both ways for adjustment, basically is what I'm saying. So I'm going to tighten this up here. Like I said, leave about the thickness of the nut of thread showing. Make sure that's in. And then what we're going to do is come up here with the bar like this. I'll hold it right here. I can't do this and hold the camera, but anyway, I'm going to mark it right here. Leave a little bit of threads, enough for the jam nut. We'll mark it right here and then cut this and then rethread this end, and we should be good. Well, come up here this morning and thought it was going to be a nice, easy day. I cut the rod down. All I needed was 32 inches. You can see here I got it cut down. And then I cut down. All I had to do was tap this 11/16 with a fine thread, right-hand thread. And let me show you what happened. When I cut it, you can see here, look at the difference in the ID from the one that's threaded to the one that's not. The ID was way too small. I couldn't even get the tap to even come close to start, and it had probably 30, 40 thousandths had to be cut out of it. So I ended up running over to a machine shop in Moxville this morning, and luckily his lathe wasn't, he didn't have nothing in the lathe, and he offered to do it while I waited. So he chucked it up in a lathe, went in here with a boring bar. I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but there's a step down there. He bored it down about 2.5 inches. And then I brought my tap, and he went while it was in the lathe and went ahead and threaded it for me. So you can see here, we're good to go now. The only thing I'm missing is a jam nut for this right-hand thread. I had to order another jam nut for that one. I got the jam nut on the left-hand thread. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and tighten up the pitman arm, and we'll connect this up, and then I'll wait when the lock nut gets in. I'll attach the other end up here. Let me go over there and we'll see if we can get it on the car. Well, while I was sitting here picking up the tools, I thought about something. I didn't measure the splines right here to see how long they were, so I'm not sure how far the pitman arm went on to the splines. So just to be safe, I didn't film it, but I went ahead and took the hex nut off and the lock washer right here, and I put a flat washer and a grade 8 fine thread. That way I could really torque down on it. And it turned out that it had about another 1/8 of an inch to go on. There was, just a tiny bit, but I didn't want to strip the threads out of this half nut. I didn't know how strong it was. So I used this grade 8 fine thread and the lock washer. And you can see there it pulled up pretty tight. But anyway, I got it on all the way now, all the way on the splines, flush. And then I went and put the nut and the lock washer back on it. So like I said, the only thing we're waiting for is the jam nut, and I'll be able to hook up the other end. Well, I wanted to show you one other thing. I've been working on the engine a little bit. I hadn't made it. I got some pieces of the video. I'll make a video just putting it together. I don't have much yet to make a full video, so I'm still working on that. And one other thing, I don't know if I talked about this or not, but I didn't have the flange to go on the rear end for the drive shaft. So this week I went up to my friend Jackie at CJ Enterprise, and I got this off of the Ranger that the rear end came out of. We cut it off, so I got this in the bolts to go to the rear end, and then he gave me a yoke to go to a Power Glide or a Turbo 350, either one it'll fit. So once I get the transmission, which I got it sitting there on the cart, I put it in here, line up the mounting bolts in the back, then I can go ahead and measure the drive shaft. So I'll bring these two ends to the drive shaft guy and just tell him what I need overall. He'll make me a drive shaft. So when the time comes, we'll be ready. Well, I'm going to end this one here. It's been a busy week. We're messing with these lights. I sure appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe. As always, comments, questions, suggestions, always welcome. We'll get it one piece at a time. Thanks again for watching.